magnets. Hi guys, Jonathan from Two Raven Studios. If you're new here, welcome. Please subscribe, we have new videos every week and you don't want to miss out. So today what we're going to do is magnetize an impulsor. So how many times have you had a tank and you just can't decide what weapons you want to put on it? Well, today we're going to show you how to do that by magnetizing all of the weapons on this tank and showing you how to give it all the different options at your command. So let's get right into it. We have a Primaris Impulsor for the Space Marines, and we're going to start with the turret on the top and magnetize every part of it. We're going to start by magnetizing this converted driver into the top. So we're going to score some lines. We're going to do this on every piece just so the glue contacts a little bit better. And we're just going to add a little bit of super glue accelerator and super glue the magnet onto the bottom of the hatch. I'm going to try to line it up right in the center so it'll rotate nicely. The kicker should kick pretty much instantly and it should be stuck. We want to actually leave 2 magnets on the bottom so we have the spacing for the next step. So now we put it in the top plate with the 2 magnets on there. And we need something to glue that magnet to. So we're going to take a piece of plastic card and lay it across. And I don't know if you can tell, but there's a small gap on either side that we need to fill in. So that's going to be our next step. So we're going to cut little spacers out of a thin plastic card. And just glue them into the bottom of the top plate. We're going to use plastic glue to do this because plastic to plastic glue is going to give us a nice strong bond. And once those are in place, we can just cut the plastic card cross brace into length. And once again, we'll use plastic glue here just to glue that cross brace into place. This process we're using for the top turret, you could also do for the side sponsons if you want to magnetize them. I didn't bother because they have the tabs and rotate in nice and easy, but you could clip those tags off and do the same thing for the side sponsons. So now we can test the fit, make sure we have our spacing right, and that looks like it's going to work, that second magnet in, so we just scored it up. We're going to put some kicker on. Add super glue to the magnet. Again, there's 2 magnets there. And put the driver into place. Again, the kicker should make it stick relatively quickly. Just press it down a little bit, make sure it's stuck. And we have the magnet on the cross brace that we inserted and the magnet on the bottom. And if we want to swap this driver out for an empty hatch, we can do that. So now we're going to work on the turrets on the back, how to swap out this turret so it can either be the missile or the iron hail. So there's this little gap in the back of the iron hail plate, so we want to, just with a little piece of sprue, just fill in that gap. So the magnet will have something flat to glue to. And we cut a cross brace out of plastic card, just like we did for the other piece. And we're going to glue the magnet right to it. You can use the end of your X-Acto knife to apply the magnets if they're small. Let them stick to it, and again, with that accelerator, they should be stuck in pretty quickly. So now what we're going to do is just add a little bit of baking soda around with some super glue to add some strength. It almost acts like a concrete around the edge of the magnet, so it's not going to come off. And now what we're going to do is with the second magnet on top, we're just going to add some super glue to that magnet. And we're going to insert that into the housing after we put some kicker on the faceplate. We're going to put those two pieces together. And then we're just going to drop that piece right into the housing and push it up against the back of the weapon. We want to make sure everything's nice and aligned here. You can kind of see we're pushing it flat against the top of the housing and then forward into that faceplate. So we have everything nice and aligned. And once that's done, we're going to stick some plastic glue on top of that cross brace we cut out of the plastic card. And just press it back in, gluing that into the housing. And we should be able to pull that front plate off. There's a magnet now on both the weapon plate and inside the housing. So now we're just going to add a second magnet onto that internal brace, put some glue on it, and we're just going to glue the other faceplate. So the missile launcher faceplate is going to be glued onto the front of it. Now we know it's going to line up properly, just how the other one's lined up. And we pull it off once we let the kicker set. And now we have the front one faceplate or the other one. Just repeat that same process for the back end so we can glue on the two different back plates and then finish assembling the turret. So now that we have it assembled, we're going to have to glue this mount onto the top plate of the tank. So to start out, we're going to glue a little piece of plastic card into the bottom of the turret because it's a little bit rounded and we want to give a flat surface for the magnet to stick to. So I'm just gluing a thin piece of plastic card onto that round surface. And we'll just add a little bit of the super glue accelerator and a little bit of glue to the magnet. And we're going to drop it in there. Once this is dry, you can reinforce it with the baking soda like we did the other pieces, but just try to make it centered right in the middle of that piece. And now there's two magnets there, so we're going to put glue on the other magnet. Accelerator in the bottom of that top plate of the tank, and just push that down so now we know it's lined up. It should be glued in. So what we have is the top plate of the tank with a magnet underneath. I just did this off camera just to show you the placement here, and then we have the magnet glued into the top part of this so we can make this turret mount removable. I kind of messed up the top of that mount plate, so the antenna is hiding that prime. So, magnet helps it stick in. This sticks in pretty well without the magnet, but just a little extra security there. Now we're going to do the side turrets. Now the side turrets have a slight problem. So there really isn't the depth to kind of put the magnet inside of those front plates of the weapons. It would not work. So what we're going to actually do is we're going to glue the magnet to the back of those plates and then draw out holes in the mounting here for everything to set down inside of. So we want to drill a hole right through that mount. I'm going to do that off camera because my Dremel's broke and it's going to be a little bit of work for me. So we have that hole drilled. And what we're going to do is we're going to take the whole stack and push it down, and we want two magnets inside that hole. So we want the one that's kind of going to stay inside the mount and the one that's going to get glued to the weapons plate. Now that there's two magnets in there, it's flush to the front. I'm going to put a little bit of super glue on that magnet, and make sure you have your accelerator handy so you're not reaching for it like I am right now. And we're going to put the accelerator onto one of the weapon plates. And now there's the little tabs in there to help us line it up. We're just going to line that up, press it in. Once it's on, I'm actually going to take my X-Acto knife and press down a little bit just to make sure that the magnets push forward flush against the front of that plate. And give the kicker a second to set and pull it off. And now we have it. Now we're going to just rinse and repeat. We stuck another magnet in there. Again, that second one should still be stuck in there. And we want to make sure this time we have it lined up the same way as we did the other one. So it's lined up there on that way, so I want to make sure this one, I do the same thing and line it up the same way. I'm just going to press it in. And do the same thing. We're going to press down with that X-Acto knife as magnets stick to it. The other plate. And we should be able to pull it off. And we still have the one magnet inside of there, so we can switch back and forth between those two different weapons now. We're going to repeat that for the other one. The other thing we have to do is, it's kind of pressure fit in there, but we just want to stick a little bit of super glue on the inside of that so that magnet stays inside the mounting. So once you do that, you can just finish the assembly of the side turrets. I left these weapon plates on the sprue. It's just easier to attach the magnets with them on the sprue. So here we have the finished tank. So top turret's magnetized. We can pull that off and replace it if we want to. Side turrets are magnetized, and if you look, I reverse the polarities on each side for storage so I can stick those two pieces together. Nice and easy, so we can put either storm bolters or the cyclone launchers on there. And then this top plate magnetizes to the piece. I haven't glued that antenna on yet, so it fell off. But that will magnetize to the main body. Nice and easy. Again, it stays in place pretty well, but the magnet's just extra security. We have the top turret. And again, I magnetized the front and back opposite polarity so I can stick them together for storage, but you have the iron hail there, or take it off. We can put the missile launcher on instead. Just with some magnets, and then that plate will magnetize to the top as I knock the antenna off again. And we can pull that off for our other options. So we have our orbital relay thing. Again, I didn't magnetize that part, I just left the plastic peg there. You can magnetize it if you want to. Or the shield dome, pull that off, and again, that goes on. So you can see everything's nice and magnetized. We can give it all the options. So I hope you found that useful and it gives you some tips and ideas of how to magnetize your miniatures. I was considering magnetizing this so it's floating off the base, but I have so many projects on my plate now, I didn't want to spend the time to do that. But we can give it all the options. Quite honestly, it's probably just going to have the shield dome on the back of it most of the time, but I wanted to give the options to have everything else on it. You can look forward to a future video where I'm going to paint the impulsor. You can also look forward to some future videos on this. I just got my Lionel Johnson miniature and I'm so excited for it. I'm going to have a whole series of videos about building and painting this guy. So to make sure you don't miss out on any of that, make sure to click subscribe. I'm also going to leave some links here to some other of my Carcharodon videos to hold you over until I paint that tank, but give you more Space Marine goodness. Until next time, keep on gaming and paint your minis.